All right, now we are going to review some of the action buttons that are on the Finalized Plan page. We're going to be looking at things such as how to log interventions. We're going to look at the progress monitoring graphs. We're going to look at completing a plan review, as well as creating a plan document. Right now, I'm on a Finalized Plan page, and if you are not there right now, don't worry about it, because first I'm going to walk through this by myself during the I do section, and then I'll make sure that all of you are on a Finalized Plan page, and we will walk through this same process together, and then as we've been doing, I'll give you some time on your own. So I'm on a Finalized Plan page, and you will notice at the top of the page there's a button that says Log Interventions. And as I mentioned previously, the persons who are able to log when interventions occur are the persons who have been identified as responsible for the plan. So in this particular example, Molly Test could log interventions, myself, as well as MTSS 11-2020. So in order to log when an intervention has occurred, you're going to click on Log Interventions. It's going to ask me if I want to leave this page. I'm going to click on the word leave, meaning yes. And now remember that I created this intervention plan for a group of students. So rather than inputting this information 3 separate times, I'm going to go ahead and click on group logging at the top here. And when I do that, it opens up this page that allows me to input the information. So it's asking me what the intervention date was. So I provided the intervention today. What was the intervention type? How many minutes did the student receive the intervention? What was the group size? And I can include any additional comments here that I might have. And these comments are going to be applicable to the 3 students in my group. And then I'm going to identify the intervention that was provided. As you can see, it automatically pulls the name of the intervention from my intervention plan into this page. So I can go ahead and click on that. And then I'm going to click on this word that says apply. And now it has applied that information to all 3 of my students as I scroll down through. And so what I want to do is click on Save All. You might make the mistake initially of when you first open this up to just click on Save. But remember, if you want this information saved for all the students, then you can come down here and click Save All. Now, if there's any particular information that's unique to one student that isn't applicable to the other students, you can change it by coming in here and changing this particular comment. Maybe this student was absent this day, and so you want to note that here, or the student had an off day or something like that. So you are able to make individual comments about students, but once all that information is completed, you're going to click on Save All. And what it does is it asks me to confirm that this information is accurate. And I'm going to click on the word confirm because it is accurate. And now I have an intervention log. It shows it right here. It says additional guided practice occurred today for 30 minutes. See this plus symbol? If I click on that, it opens it up. So if for some reason I want to delete this log, I could delete it by clicking on delete. Or if I made a mistake and I want to edit the log, I can click on edit as well. And then when I'm done logging my interventions, I simply click on this button up here that says back to plan, and it will take me back to my plan. The next thing I'd like to show you on the intervention plan page is graphing interventions. Graphing progress monitoring data. So progress monitoring data will come into the system electronically, and it will be graphed on the graph for each of the students. You may also enter data manually. So if you have some type of data that is not being brought in electronically, you are able to input data manually as well. So you can input the data this way and then click on your save scores, and you'll see that it begins to plot on the graph. And you may also notice that we have a round pie graph next to each of the graphs for the students. And the round pie graph next to the progress monitoring graph allows you to look at one student in comparison to the other students in the group without having to scroll down the page. Now, right now, my pie graph doesn't have any data since we aren't pulling in any progress monitoring data yet. But if a student is off track and you see most students in the group are also off track, then the team will want to examine the effectiveness of the intervention. And they might ask questions such as, has the intervention been provided as designed? And then conversely, if only one or two students are off track, your team might consider intensifying the intervention. And this feature is most useful when there's more than 3 students in a group and you don't want to have to look around for outliers. You can easily see how each student is doing compared to the rest of the group. One other thing that I will point out in terms of logging interventions, you'll notice that I have a symbol over here that says 100% and it's in green. This is indicating that to date, these students have received the intervention as prescribed. So the system is looking at this here that says these students should receive this intervention 3 times a week for 30 minutes. And it's looking at my logs, and it's saying right now the students have received the intervention as prescribed. But if any time the students don't receive the intervention as prescribed, then this percentage will go down. And if it goes below 80%, it will turn yellow. And if it goes below 60%, it turns red. But that's a quick way for you to know whether or not the students in the group are receiving the intervention as prescribed. You're also able to do a plan review. So in order to do a plan review, and you do this for each student in the group, you click on the button that says Plan Review, and it pops up a window, and you simply answer these 4 questions. Is the student's trend line indicating they will meet the goal by intervention end date? And you simply answer yes, no, or we don't have enough information. Is the student generalizing the skills of the intervention to other settings? Again, you answer yes, no, or we don't have enough information. Are most other students in the same intervention showing a positive response? And do other measures of student progress in addition to that which is being graphed indicate the student is progressing with the intervention? Now, I just randomly chose yes, no, but you would answer those and then click on Save Plan Review. And what it does is it shows that I did a plan review today on 7/6/2020. The student is having a questionable response to the intervention based on my answers. So, and then you can add some additional notes here if you like that is pertinent to your plan review. And you can save your notes by clicking on Save Notes. So the Plan Review button is a great feature to show as well. And then another thing I want to point out is you can create a document. So if you click on Create Document, it's going to ask you which intervention plan document do you want to create. This particular student has both a math intervention plan as well as a literacy plan, so it's asking me which one, or I can select both. I'm going to say the math one right now. And who's the plan contact for the student? It's myself. And you can indicate if there's other members of the plan team. And are the parents aware of the intervention? And do you need to make any additional changes to the intervention? And then you can click on Create Document. And once you do that, it will create a hard copy document which you can print or save. So if you want to provide a copy to a parent, for example, now you have a document that you can provide. And then to click out of that, you just click on Cancel, and it takes you right back to the Finalized Plan page. And then the only other thing I was going to mention on this particular page is just a reminder that you can modify a plan by coming down here and clicking on Modify Plan. And you can also view this history, the intervention history page that I showed you before. You can view that from this site as well. But those are the primary functionality that we wanted to show you on the Finalized Plan page. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause, because we're going to do that. We're going to look at these together, and you're going to log an intervention with me and look at some of those other action buttons with me. So if you are already on a Finalized Plan page, it would look like this. If you're already there, just stay there. You're perfect. If for some reason you're not on a Finalized Plan page, you're probably on the Early Warning System page. So I'm going to go to the Early Warning System page just in case some of you are there, so that I can take you to a Finalized Plan page. All right. And if you're on the Early Warning System page, there's a couple ways that you can get to a Finalized Plan page. You can either choose a student that has a plan, and you would know that because remember, their icon's going to be opened up now, which would indicate they have a plan. And you can click next to their name and click on Go to Student Plan, and that will automatically take you to their Finalized Plan page. That's typically what I do. But you can also find finalized plans by clicking on this here that says My Plans, and it takes you to all the plans that you have created, and you could actually go to a Finalized Plan page from here as well. So I can also see that I have a plan created for these 3 students. I can click on Plan page, and it will take me to my Finalized Plan. So you can go ahead and do that, and it will take you to a Finalized Plan as well. So why don't you go ahead and do that, get to a Finalized Plan, and I'll wait a moment here for you to do that. All right, so now that you're all on a Finalized Plan, let's log an intervention. So at the top of your Finalized Plan, you're going to see this button that says Log Interventions. Go ahead and click on that. It's going to ask you if you want to leave the page. You're going to click on Leave. And I am going to, don't do this, I'm going to delete this so that I can add one with you. All right, so now the first thing you're going to do is click on Group Logging. Click on Group Logging. You're going to choose your intervention date. You're going to choose your intervention type. You're going to include how many minutes did the students receive it. Now, it could be that one day you weren't able to give them their whole 30 minutes. You might have to put in 25, for example. But hopefully, most times you'll be entering the minutes they're supposed to receive it. And then the group size and any comments that you might want to add here. And then choose the intervention that the students received, and click on the word Apply. And now what you're going to do is you're scrolling the whole way down to the bottom of the page. And see the Save All button? Go ahead and click Save All. Now you get a pop-up and it's showing you what you just saved, and it's asking you to confirm that that's accurate. Go ahead and click Confirm if that's accurate, and if you accidentally made a mistake, see, you can always edit it right here. But I'm going to go ahead and confirm because it's accurate. And now I have it added at the top of my page. So you can see that the students received this intervention today. They received it for 25 minutes. And remember, you can always open this up by clicking on the plus symbol. You can delete an entry if you accidentally didn't want to add that entry, or you can edit your entry. But I'm going to assume that since you were following along, everything is okay. And so what we want to do is we want to go back to our finalized plan page. So we're going to go up here in the blue ribbon on the upper right hand side of your page where it says Back to Plan. And you're going to click on Back to Plan. And that's going to take you to your finalized plan page where we were. And you can see again, Log Interventions button that we just worked on. And I talked to you about how you can enter data manually. So in order to do that, you would click on Show, Enter, Edit Data button. It's right underneath the graph. And each student has their own graph and their own button. If you click on that, it opens up a date and score field, so you can enter dates and a score that if you want to enter any information manually, you can do that here. And then you would just click Save Scores. And they show up on the graph. Now then I usually click Hide Data just to save room on the screen. If you click Hide Data, it just collapses that information. So this is just opens it and collapses it. And then remember, you can maintain student notes here. And click on Save Notes, and those are saved. And then we did talk about this pie graph. Remember this pie graph? Once you start getting progress monitoring data past the intervention start date, it will allow you to look at one student in comparison to the other students in the group. And that way you won't have to scroll down the page and look at every student's graph. It will let you know if the student's off track and the rest of the students are on track, for example. So that's just for convenience. And then we also looked at the plan review functionality. So let's do a plan review. So click on Plan Review button right here. And you'll get this pop up. And remember, all you have to do is answer these 4 questions. So you click on the downward arrow and choose yes, no, or not enough information for the 4 questions. Right now, you can just obviously randomly answer. And then once you've identified yes, no, or not enough information for those 4 questions, all you do is click on Save Plan Review. And then you should see the date that you did your plan review, and you'll see that the computer automatically identifies a questionable or positive response based on the responses that you provided. So this is saying based on my yes, no, yes, yes, the student's having a questionable response to the intervention. So that's the plan review. And then the last thing we're going to do on this page together is create a document. So I want to create a document. Go ahead and click on Create Document. Now, my particular student has 2 intervention plans. Yours may not. So just choose whatever intervention plan you want to create a document for. I'm going to choose both of mine. And then you'll identify the plan contact for this student, if there's any other team members for the student, and whether the parents have been made aware of the intervention, and if there's any additional intervention changes that need to be made. And then all you have to do is click on this button that says Create Document, and it will open up in a new tab. And there it is. In my scenario, it's printing both intervention plans because I chose to do that. You probably are only have one intervention plan in your document. And then as you can see, if I hover up over here, I can either download this document and save it, or I can print it if I want to send home a hard copy or keep a hard copy in the queue. And then to leave this document, you'll just click on the tab. So you won't back arrow, but you'll click on this new tab that the document was created in. That takes you back to this pop-up window, and you're going to hit cancel, and all that means is you're canceling this pop-up window. So go ahead and click cancel. And that takes you back to your finalized plan page. And then just as a reminder, at the bottom of the page, if you scroll the whole way down, there's the modify plan button. So if you ever make a mistake or want to make changes, you can modify the plan there. And you're also able to view the history. So if you want to see what type of interventions the student has received in the past, you're able to do that as well by clicking on View History. So those were the buttons and the functionality that we went over on the Finalized Plan page. What I'm going to do now is I am going to pause for 5 minutes and allow you to log an intervention on your own, or look at any of the other buttons here on the Finalized Plan page.